Hey everybody, I want to talk about something. It's called the Anchor app. It's the easiest way to record a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. And it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So I want you to do something for me. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello and welcome to the 22 Podcast. Listen, I want to do something before we go any further. We just hit a new milestone. We officially have hit 300 streams for the show. Man, we've come a mighty long way since April. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you that listens to the show each and every week. Continue to do so. Continue to pray for it. Continue to listen. Continue to support. Continue to let other people know about what's going on with the 22 Podcast. So much more that's going to happen in the near future, and I want you all to be a part of it. So with that being said, thank you 300 million times. Hey, that sounds like a good number. With that being said, let's get into the show today. You're really going to like it. Let's lock in. One of the most talked about things in our culture today is trust. This word dominates every part of our lives through our thoughts, our words, and our actions. But what does trust really mean? What does trust really look like? First and foremost, before I go any further, I want to be a bit transparent. For so many years, I dealt with trust on both aspects. Being trustworthy, and on top of being trustworthy, trusting other people. On the spectrum, on the realm of trusting other people, in some cases, I trusted the wrong people, and then when they let me down, it was devastating. But in turn, I've been that person as well. And throughout the years, I had to learn the value of trusting other people and being trustworthy. And I want to talk about just, what does trust look like and what does it mean, and some ways to be discerning and be aware and, be a trustworthy person and learn how to trust people a little bit better each and every day. Especially when you've been especially when you're a person that is heavily guarded. And you're heavily guarded simply because you've trusted people and they have hurt you. And so oftentimes when we are hurt and we are lied to and we are deceived and we are betrayed, the walls get higher and higher each and every betrayal. The walls become more fortified each time we are betrayed and we are lied to. But today, I just want to get into trust. Okay, so let's uncover this thing. What does trust mean? Well, I love dictionary. I love the dictionary, and I love definitions. One of my and that's one of my favorite things when I research is not only look at the quotes from other people and articles from other people, but I also just love the definitions of or defining words that are connected to what I talk about. So let's talk about the word trust. What is trust? There's 3 definitions that I put down. 3 defining factors. And the first one is this. It is a firm belief in the reliability, ability, or strength of someone or something. I'll repeat that because I talk really fast. It is the firm belief in the reliability, ability, or strength of someone or something. The second one is acceptance of the truth of a statement without investigation. Acceptance of the truth of a statement without investigation. Okay? And we'll go through these again in just a second after we go through the third one. And the third one being a person or duty for which one has a responsibility. A person or duty for which one has responsibility. So we've got three things that I took from these definitions, three words that I took from these definitions. And that trust involves belief, acceptance, and responsibility. When you are dealing with being trustworthy, or you're dealing with trusting a person, it's a belief that they're not going to abdicate from the truth. They're not going to abdicate from being reputable. They're not going to abdicate from the responsibility of being a trustworthy person. They're not going to fall short of their word. They're not. They're not going to make promises they can't keep. They're not going to give a word that they don't believe, that you're not going to believe. They're not going to cause you to be a skeptic every time they say something. And so there's a belief in there. There's an acceptance that they are telling the truth. There's an acceptance. Let's go back to that second definition. Acceptance of the truth of a statement without investigation. So with trust, you have to, there's an acceptance of the truth without having to fact check. And these days, if we're all very honest, we have to fact check everything. Let's be honest. Even somebody that has been reputable, that is somebody that has been a trustworthy person, sometimes we have to fact check. A lot of times we have to fact check because rumors and rumors are often just that, rumors. And rumors are nothing, and a lot of rumors are proven to be false. We live in a world where everybody is a rumor mill columnist. Everybody everybody is both either a tabloid junkie or a tabloid writer. It's rumors. Nobody, in so many cases, there are so many people that you can't even trust. You have to look at them side eyes. There's side eye because they are going to tell a lie. They're known to tell lies. They're known to spread rumors. They're known to spread gossip. And we'll get into that a little bit later in the realm of, of gossip and all of that. So let's get back into it, and let's not deviate from the lesson today, because I like to do that. Okay, so let's read those definitions again, just to get a little background on trust. That trust is one, a firm belief in the reliability, ability, or strength of someone or something. Number two, acceptance of the truth of a statement without investigation. And three, hold on, flipping the page here. And three, a person or duty for which one has responsibility. Belief, acceptance, responsibility. So now that we know what trust is, and we've uncovered what trust is, what trust means, let's talk about something that we often don't talk about in our circle of friends. We're not talking about this. And we do oftentimes need to have this discussion about those levels. Not only with our group of friends, but we also need to have this discussion with ourselves. We have to honestly do a inventory of our circle of friends, our circle of influence, and see what level, understand and decipher the levels of friendships that you have and the levels of trust within those friendships. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the levels of trust. Here's the first one. This is level 1, and this is the starting point of building trust. And it is called the level of shared values. The level of shared values. All of us, in some way, share values. Whatever that value is, it could be, love, peace, justice. We all share common values. And some of us also share uncommon values. But that is the starting point of building trust. And trust occurs when people share those same values. That's the first level. You can't get any further up until you've gotten to this first level. And this first level is shared values. The second one, integrity. This is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. Also, it is the state of being whole and undivided. There are so many people that share your values. And this level, when it gets to this level, the first level is always the hardest. The first level is always the easiest to get through. The first level is always the easiest. But once you get here, this is where the crowd thins out. It thins out. And this is the part of integrity, the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. There are so many people that have shared values but low morals. Values are high. Their level of having shared values is high, but their level of having high morals is low. They have low morals. Their integrity is not the greatest. And as we go further into the levels of trust, you'll understand that, even within your own circle and within your circle of influence, that the higher the level, the thinner the crowd gets, the thinner your circle gets. So first we said shared values. The second one being integrity. Okay, here we go. The third is concern for others. Here we go. So now we've gone from shared values. Now we're at integrity, and now here we go. Third level. The third level is concern for others. I want to ask you a question. Are you compassionate? And I want to ask you another question. Are you genuine and authentic about your passion for people's concerns? There are so many people that act like they are authentic and passionate about other people. Some people aren't doing it out of compassion and authenticity. They're doing it for clout. They're doing it just to say, hey, look at me. They're doing it for the applause. Authenticity, when it comes to being passionate about people, is a very, very, very high level, paramount thing that you must have. You must be authentic. You must be authentic in order to be trusted. You must be authentic about your passion for people, and you must be authentic in being you at all times. Because if you can't be you when it comes to being compassionate about others, how can you be compassionate about the connections that you're in? You have to be authentic. You have to be authentic about your concern for others. And so I ask again, are you compassionate? And are you genuinely authentic? Are you genuine and authentic about your passion for people? Are you? Here's the fourth one. Here we go. And let me pause real quick before we go any further. I didn't know there were levels for everything. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Like when I was, recently I did a teaching on the levels of friendships and all that stuff. And I learned a little bit about certain levels of friendships, but at the same time, I really didn't pay attention to certain levels. And so it's amazing the revelation that you get when you are learning about the levels of friendships. It's amazing. And so I always want to learn something new. I always want to learn about the levels of certain things and how to get there. And so, okay, let's hit the play button. Let's move forward because I'll stay on the point. Y'all know me. The fourth level, and the crowd is going to get thinner each and every level once again. The fourth level of trust is being competent. Being competent. Are you capable? Are you intelligent? Can you be trusted to lead? Do you have what it takes to be trusted to complete a task? Are you competent on a certain topic? Where's your competency level? When we were all in school, I'm sure we all have done these. We used to do reading comprehension tests. We used to do reading comprehension tests in school. Show of hands. I know I can't see them, but raise your hand if you've ever taken a reading comprehension test in elementary school. And basically what reading comprehension tests was you read a book, you read a story, and later on it asked you to, in so many cases, summarize what you read. And that was to simply see where your comprehension level was, where you were, how competent you were. I was looking at a story as I was researching about this, researching about the levels of trust, and it was talking about a dad and a son, and they were climbing a mountain, and the dad started doubting him a little bit, and the son asked him, "What's wrong, Dad? Can't you trust me?" And the dad said, "Yes, I can trust you, but you're a beginner, and your competency, your competence isn't that great. So I have to lead you and guide you along the way, and you have to continue to learn. I trust you. I trust that you can climb this mountain, but I want you to do it the right way. I want you to be competent about completing this task of climbing this mountain." And so there are so many people in there, so many people in our lives that are not competent about certain things. I know I've been in that position where I've acted as if I was competent, but then again, there was so much more I needed to learn. And there was so much more I needed to do, and so much more I needed to do involving growth. And so competency is a big factor in building trust. And finally, we are at the fifth level. And we're not done because I got some keys at the end of this that I want y'all to understand. And this last one is accountability. And I ask a question: how's your follow through? Are you holding yourself accountable? There are so many people that won't ever get to this level of being accountable and accountable for you, and you have to learn how to get to this level yourself, holding yourself accountable to being trustworthy, holding yourself to being accountable to completing a task, holding yourself accountable to under promising and over delivering. Are you consistent? Are you consistent with everything that you do? Accountability and consistency go hand in hand. Because if you don't ever hold yourself accountable to do something, you'll never be consistent. It goes hand in hand with relationships. It goes hand in hand with working. It goes hand in hand with friendships. Are you consistent? Are you holding yourself accountable to do the necessary things and sometimes a little extra to make sure that you're a trustworthy person at your job, in your family, in your relationships, and in your friendships? Are you doing the necessary things in your life to be consistent and accountable? Are you following through? What does it look like? And so we have to understand that this fifth level is the hardest one to get to. And I've said it before when I talked about friends, and I'm going to say it again. You can't let somebody that's on level 1, right here, level 1, the ground floor, the starting level, the easiest level, you can't let everybody that is stuck on level 1 get level 5 access. There is no cheat code to get from shared values to accountability. There is no cheat code. Remember cheat code, y'all? Where we would, I know one of my favorite games is Grand Theft Auto. And they had a cheat code where you could go from the very first level all the way to the last level where you beat the game. Yeah. Look it up. I kid you not. If you're a person like me who had cheat code books and printed off cheat codes when you were a kid to get certain things and unlock certain levels of access on a video game, you'll understand that there is no cheat code to get level 5 access. There is no cheat code to get level 5 access to trust. Trust must be built. Here's a quote. I'll give you a quote on that. That trust is like an eraser. It gets smaller and smaller, smaller after every mistake. I heard another quote that trust is built over time. Trust takes years to build, and this is Warren Buffett, by the way. And trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair. Trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair. Warren Buffett, one of the greatest philanthropists of our time, gave us that quote. That it takes a long time to build trust. You can't put a cheat code in and instantly get to the highest levels of trust. That it takes years to build, but you could be on that road. You could be on level 1. Actually, be honest. You could be on the highest level. And the smallest mistake, the smallest break of trust, breach of trust, causes collapse. And in a lot of cases, it takes forever. It takes years, even decades, to get back to that level. Some people never, ever get to that highest level of trust ever again because of one mistake. You have to be willing to build trust. That trust takes time, just like building a friendship. No friendship is automatic. It must be cultivated. Trust must be cultivated. It must be built over time. You cannot allow level 1 people, and I'm going to say it, and it's probably a skipping record. You cannot let level 1 people get level 5 access. Man, let's move on because I'll stay there. I'm on it today. I'm on this. I've wanted to teach this for a long time because like I said at the beginning of the show, that I've been on both sides of this spectrum where I've had people that I couldn't trust and I couldn't be trusted. I've been on both sides. Let me be honest. I wasn't always comfortable telling people that, but I'm honest that I've been on both sides where I could be trusted, where I couldn't be trusted, and I couldn't trust people at the same time. And when you can't be trusted, it takes a long, long time to build that trust. And you're probably asking, why? Why couldn't you be trusted? Why weren't you always a trustworthy person? Well, if you allow me to be transparent for just a minute, and we'll move on, and we'll wrap this thing up, and we will go from there. We'll go on, and you can ask questions of me after the show on Instagram, and those of you that have my phone number, you can ask me questions there and ask me how I got through it. But you're probably asking, why weren't you a trustworthy person? Well, sometimes when you're dealing with self-esteem issues, you will tell every lie just to be accepted. You will lie. You will say you have things that you don't. You will say you've done things that you haven't. You will say you've gone places that you have not gone. Just for acceptance. And for a long time, I stuck to lies. I stuck to those lies that I would tell. Not knowing that people were fact checking. And so, at some point in time, I had to eventually say to myself, this is not me. I have to learn how to be a trustworthy person. You know, I said at the beginning, early in the show, I said that I couldn't trust other people. And that is true, because the minute I would trust somebody and trust somebody with something, that would go and tell it, the minute I would do them wrong. Not only was I dealing with people that weren't trustworthy, I wasn't a trustworthy person. And I found out something, that they were a reflection of who I was. The people you are connected to as friends, and we here now, are a reflection of who you are. They're a reflection. I heard somebody say this in regards to relationships. They said that watch who you call a fool. Watch who you call when you call your significant other a fool. This is actually Dr. R.A. Vernon out of Cleveland, Ohio, pastor of the Word Church. He said, watch who you call a fool. Watch when you call your significant other a fool, because they are a reflection of your intelligence. Sometimes the people we're connected to, and you might not believe this, and you may believe this, but the people that we're connected to are a reflection of both the good things and the bad things. So, liars, in some cases, will be connected to liars. That's what it is. Is that I was connected to people that I couldn't trust and they couldn't trust me. And eventually I had to break from the gravitational pull of being connected to somebody or connected to people that I couldn't trust and that couldn't trust me. I had to learn how to be a trustworthy person in all of it. I had to learn how to build integrity, to build character, to build being trustworthy. I had to learn how to be accountable for every lie that I told. I had to learn how to be a trustworthy person. Now, it takes time. And I want y'all to understand a few things about this journey of being a trustworthy person and trusting people. Here's the first one. That you can't trust everyone with your story. Oh, let me say that again. For the people that got their radio down or got their player down or whatnot. And don't look at somebody you sitting in the car with, you sitting in the house with. Don't send a text message to your friend. I can't trust you with my story. I got to leave. No, wait. No. You can't trust, but I'm going to say it again. You can't trust everyone with your story. You can't. I know that's hard to believe. I know that's hard to grasp. I know that's hard to understand that you can't trust everybody with your story. But please understand that everybody can't handle your testimony. Especially when you're in the process of going through a trial. You can't trust everybody while you're still healing. Because the minute you do something that they don't like, they will drag you in the mud for telling your story. You can't trust everybody with your story. That's where I go back and say you can't give level 1 people, people with shared values, the level of accountability. You can't. You can't trust everybody with their story. And the second one, number 2, the first level is always the easiest. Everybody has a value that they share. I know I said that at the beginning as well, that everyone has a value that they share, whether that's love, whether that's success, whatever that may be. We all have shared values. The third one, and this one, when I wrote it and I thought about it, I was like, Lord, wow. That the higher the level, the thinner the air. Have you ever noticed when people are climbing a mountain, they have to wear oxygen tanks? Or whenever somebody is for example, when you're playing at there's several stadiums across the globe, one being Estadio Azteca. It's in Mexico. It is so high above sea level that the air is thin, and you have to train heavily in order to be able to handle the thin air. Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. Anybody that's anybody that's in the Air Force or that has went to Air Force, please don't hurt me for getting the city wrong. But in Colorado, their football stadium at Air Force Academy, they have a warning in the tunnel to let you know that they're so high above sea level that the air can be thin, and that if you can't handle it, you will pass out. So, what am I saying? How's that? And what you're probably saying, how does this connect to levels of trust? That everybody is at the base of the mountain. But the higher you get, as far as levels of trust, not everybody can breathe the air at the top of that mountain. Not everybody is suited to breathe that air. And those that are suited to breathe that air, that means it has been a labor It has been a laborious situation. It's been a laborious task to build trust. And so you have to understand that the higher the level of trust, the thinner the air is going to get. And not everybody is going to be able to handle that air. And make sure that you're able to handle the air at the top of that level, which is the level of accountability. Make sure you're able to handle breathing that air. The higher the level, the thinner the air. Number 4, hold yourself accountable. Be your best, be your own accountability partner. You can be your biggest critic, but be your best accountability partner. Make sure you're holding yourself to a high standard of being trustworthy, of being competent, of being compassionate. Make sure you're holding yourself up to a higher standard of telling the truth at all times, having high integrity, being of great moral character, high and great moral character. Hold yourself accountable. It's so we often talk about having accountability partners, and that is great, and I have plenty of them, and thank God for those people that hold me accountable each and every day. I really appreciate you all. Those that are listening to the show, and those that don't listen, that I talk to in private. Thank you for holding me accountable. Continue to do so. And it's great to have accountability partners. But are you holding yourself accountable? Because it's only one thing. Some people can want something for you. They can pray for you. But it can't just be them wanting it alone. They can want it for you, but they can't get it for you. You have to learn how to be accountable for yourself to achieve high levels of integrity and great moral character. Hold yourself accountable. And finally, and I love this, and this is what I do. Even in the midst of storms, trials, tests, being highly guarded, is above all else, trust God. You got to trust God in everything. You have to have faith that He will perform and complete everything that He has said He is going to complete in your life. You have to trust God. I came all the way from the beginning of this to finally say to trust God above all else. When friends fail you, trust God. When people lie to you, trust God. It's difficult, but you have to learn how to trust God through all of this. I want y'all to understand the levels of trust are sometimes hard to build. Building trust is hard simply because in so many cases we have been so heavily damaged by people because they've broken our trust. And we oftentimes have to take the time and say, I've hurt a lot of people because I haven't been trustworthy. We often have to take inventory within ourselves and say the same thing. So I encourage you, after listening to this show, build your level of integrity, of trust, of high moral character. Learn to be a trustworthy person and learn how to build trust over time with people. Don't move too fast. It is a process. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. I promise you, you'll understand the value of trust once you learn about the journey to building trust. Thank you for listening to the show this Thursday. Thank you for listening to it, and I really appreciate you locking in with me. I hope you took notes. I really hope that you are going to apply this information that has been given today, listen, I'm excited about the next two shows. And that is, we're going to continue both series. The Tuesday series being easier said than done, and this series, which has been entitled The Confusion Chronicles. We are going to continue this series for the next few weeks, even if it goes into July. I've been waiting and pushing this series back further and further, and that is because of all the events that have taken place within the past few weeks. And it's so good to finally get into this. So listen, next week, we're going to get back to all three aspects of this show, which is at 1 p.m. on Tuesdays, 1 p.m. on Thursdays, and 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. 1 and 7 p.m. on Tuesdays, and 1 p.m. on Thursdays. 7 p.m. being Tuesday Night Live on IG. And, of course, you don't want to miss the 2-2 podcast. Outwork You Thursdays. And everything that involves this show. So with that being said, we'll see you next Tuesday, 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. live here on Anchor, Spotify, IG Live, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And we'll see you next Thursday for Outwork You Thursdays for the continuation of this series we've called The Confusion Chronicles. Be blessed, y'all. Stay encouraged. And remember the levels of trust.